There is a new Gargoyle Gecko Morph in town, and today we're going to talk all about it. Ever since we saw the explosion of new crested gecko morphs like the lily white, the cappuccinos, axanthics, and sables, and so on, we knew that there was going to be the same thing but for gargoyle geckos. It is finally time for gargoyle geckos to get their shine. I've been seeing a lot of different things pop up here and there. I have my amelanistic or hypo project. I have some other stuff going on in the background that I have shown in the past, but this is a brand new morph that I'll be working with that I imported from Europe. Now this gecko here, this is a adult male that I imported. What's different about these geckos is that they seem to get some sort of reduction in pattern. They get like these circular pattern formations on the sides of their belly right here. Now I have noticed a significant reduction in the head pattern and some heavier outline of certain stripes. I've only seen striped animals of this variation, and this may very well be the clown project that I have talked about briefly in some other videos. Kind of looks very, very similar, and if you remember from some of my older videos, the clown project basically creates some sort of circles on the sides of the gargoyle geckos, and I think that's the same thing that's going on here. How do I know it's a new morph? Because there are a ton of them. The breeder who started producing them has a bunch of them, and there are some scattered around the US already. So I know for a fact that it's a genetic mutation that's getting passed down. How does it get passed down? I am not very sure yet. I suspect that it is an incomplete dominant, so that would mean that I would only need one of these to produce more. Technically, incomplete dominance means that if I pair this guy to a normal female, about half of the babies will come out with this type of pattern. Of course, there are some that get more defined circles or less defined circles. There's a lot of variance when it comes to the pattern itself, but it's going to be interesting to start to mix this with some of our other mutations that we already have in the gargoyle gecko world. This is super exciting, and this is the first male I got. I actually got 2 more animals. I'm going to show you one more of them right now. All right, so in this little enclosure here, I have one of the clown gargoyles or whatever we want to call them. And I wanted to show you because this one actually has very well-defined traits. As you can see, this one is a lot younger. It's a little juvenile. You could see that super defined dark stripe running down the dorsal. It has a lot more of those circle type patterns that are across the lower part of his side. If you also take a closer look to his head, there is a reduction in pattern there. It seems to make those side stripes on the top side of his head, it makes it a lot bolder. This is the second little baby I got. I actually got another little baby that has the most orange and colored of any of these animals that I imported. But if you want to see that one, you're going to have to subscribe to our membership program here on YouTube. We actually will be showing a sneak peek of that gecko and all of our other projects in that video, so make sure you check that out. Back to this little guy. Look at how circular, like perfect little circles this one has on its side, and that's what makes me really think that this is the same thing that we saw in the clown gene of gargoyle geckos. For whatever reason, the people that have the clown gene haven't been able to produce it at a larger scale. And I know that a buddy of mine that has it is because his gecko is a female. And as we know, gargoyle geckos don't have the best year breeding the first year. They're not as prolific as crested geckos. That's why the prices always stays a little higher. Sometimes they lay 1 egg, sometimes they lay 2 eggs, sometimes 1 egg goes bad. Things like that happen all the time when you're breeding animals, so that is why. But I'm happy that I have a male that I could pair to a couple different females and hopefully get more stuff just like this. If you guys remember, I have this weird gargoyle gecko female that I hatched out from a little baby. You guys saw her all the way up to she's a full-grown adult now. And I'm planning on pairing this male that I showed you previous to this gecko to that girl. Let's go back, touch base with those animals. Let me show you them and get you excited for what's to come. All right, so take a look at this female here. She has some sort of aberrant type patterning that's going on there, some half circles on her sides. As you can see, both sides are actually just like that. And this is such a, oddball gecko that I haven't seen anything like this before. It almost reminds me of the skeleton blotched animals that you see around, where the pattern and the red kind of does the same thing, where it kind of drips off to the sides like that. Obviously this is a striped animal, so it is just very, very odd that it looks like this. This could just be like a one-off chance that it's like just some weird genetic combination that happened while these animals, the parents of these animals, were breeding. But I want to show you what the parents of this animal actually looks like, because they're nothing like this. They're striped, they're red striped animals. They're red striped animals, but they don't have this weird pattern that she has. And I have hatched a couple more that have this kind of patterning going on, but not to the level, not to how defined like how she is. So let me show you the parents to this now. These two are the parents to that previous gecko we just showed. Now, the male is actually from Phil Tremper. It's a really nice red male. He's a little bit faded. He's older now. But if you guys realize, Phil Tremper is actually the guy who originally produced Deadpool. So his color animals have always been very, very unique, very special. And this girl here is also very unique. She has a lot of aberrant striping going on. Really, really nice patterning going on. Nothing out of this world. Definitely geckos, like I've seen plenty of geckos like this before, but I've never seen a gecko like the one that they produced before. So super cool to see that sometimes there's like some hidden genetics that just pop out of nowhere. And I think that's what's going to be happening with gargoyle geckos here in the next couple years. We are still very young with the gargoyle gecko breeding, and as more people get into it and start to experiment more, we're going to see new morphs. This is something I'm super excited about because, as you guys know, I am an absolute fan of crested geckos, gargoyle geckos, and everything New Caledonian. Whenever there's new morphs or new excitement that gets injected into the hobby, I'm the first one to talk about it. With that being said, guys, thanks for watching. This is gonna wrap up this video. If you liked it, make sure you subscribe and catch us next week.